I think number one issue people have is like they're too afraid to try out new things. Like and the number two is things were so difficult to use for average people, right? For example, like BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry technically had like way before the time everything to offer which our smartphone offers now. BlackBerry offered that ability 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but still, it was not that commonly used. Like people embraced iPod and iPad and iPhone.
Hello, and welcome back to Tech4UsAll, the podcast that makes technology simple and approachable. Whether you're tech averse, anxious about technology, or just hesitant to embrace it, we're here to show you that technology isn't as daunting as it seems. In every episode, we unpack everyday technologies with experts from around the world, breaking it down in plain English so you can feel comfortable and in control. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger. I look forward to introducing you to great guests every single week. And today we have Sandip Dholakia. He's an author, a cryptographer, an information security professional. He works as a principal security architect within the Global Security and Compliance Group at SAP America. He also holds a U.S. patent and a defensive publication for designing and developing a cryptography-based anti-theft algorithm. He is certainly much smarter than me, and I look forward to learning from him today and giving you that information as well. He's also published books about security topics like log management, zero trust architecture, encryption, and security configuration. He is a very knowledgeable individual. So let's get our conversation started. Sandip, welcome to Tech4UsAll.
Yeah, hi Scott. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very flattered by the introduction.
Okay.
By the
Thank you.
introduction.
I'm looking forward to our topic today. We're going to talk about technology, future technology that people should be on the outlook for, a little bit about quantum computing and its effect on cybersecurity. But first, I'd like to start with, tell everybody about your technology background so they can get comfortable with you and get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, so as you said, right, I've been in the field for a long time, almost 25 years, and I started as a software developer, like most people do, and then slowly I went to IT and I managed the VMware labs over the years, and about 10, 12 years ago, I moved to InfoSec area, this area, and back then, right, like when I went to school, there was no degree for cybersecurity and anything like that, right? We had to learn on our own, and when you try to help others in the IT department, that becomes your job. This is it. You do it now. So it is how I ended up in the InfoSec area, and I've been doing this for almost 10 years. So I worked for a long time for GM, the automotive company in Detroit, and then I also worked for Cisco for some time, and for last 4 years I have been with SAP.
Excellent. Well, you definitely have a deep background and understanding in cybersecurity, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. But what I want to start with is everyone has a differing opinion, and we all know somebody in our lives who are technology adverse. We try to help others around us with technology. Some people just don't like using it for whatever reason. They have a fear of it. What are your feelings around why people tend to have a technology aversion?
So I think number one issue people have is like they're too afraid to try out new things. The number two is things were so difficult to use for average people, right? For example, like BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry technically had like way before the time everything to offer which our smartphone offers now. BlackBerry offered that ability 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but still, it was not that commonly used. Like people embraced iPod and iPad and iPhone. People did not do to the BlackBerry because it was too difficult to use, right? It was not like they did not create all the apps. They did not have easy to use like touch interfaces right? So non-technical people know, okay, I touch here and it will open this, right? And in the BlackBerry, you had this, that scroll down and the ball bearing. And so that is number one, right? Ease of use. That's number one thing. And I think Steve Jobs did amazing job making sure that it becomes easy for people to use. The number two thing, the number two is people have too many things to use, like, okay, uh, different passwords, then phone numbers like MFA, then email addresses, then, oh, I don't have my email address now, how to log into my email. So those things adds up, right, to people not doing that. But obviously now we have different things like um, SSO and single sign-on, and you can unlock your phones and apps through fingers and Face ID and all that. So that helps. But this was, I think, original reason why people tend to a little bit skeptical of doing things online or using technology.
Yeah, I have to say that I think that mass media, meaning like, science fiction television and movies, gave everyone this impression that technology would just be this simple, easy to use thing that would work all the time for it, and it hasn't gotten there, and therefore people tend to get a little frustrated before taking a moment and just slowing down and trying to figure it out. So I think
Right.
you're spot on with definitely it being challenging for some people, but not impossible. And that is why we're here, because we want people to feel and understand a level of comfort with technology so that they start to use it better. Because correct me if I'm wrong, and being a security expert, is it not true that people's lack of embracing technology and learning it can actually make them an easier target or less secure in their technological life?
That is very true, and it is why we say, right, that people are the weakest link. Like, no matter how many technologically secure controls you implement around your organization or your work environment, but if people don't know how to use it, or they are tempted to click any link, all goes down the drain, because people are the weakest link, and we have to educate them, and we have to make them efficient to use the technology available to people.
No, absolutely, and that's why we're here today. So, people have probably heard somewhere about quantum computing, right? That's definitely coming our way every single day. They've probably heard it in relationship to artificial intelligence and computing power. And you're going to talk a little bit about, what the effect of quantum computing will be on their cybersecurity user experience, and how it's going to impact them, but why they need to understand that the impacts will create better outcomes for them. So, Sandy, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Right. So, Scott, if you don't mind, I would like to start with what exactly quantum computer is, right? And how it works. So, how it is different than your laptop right now or your iPhone right now, right? So, it's very simple. I mean, obviously, it's not that simple, because they have like 4 years degree on quantum physics. So, there's a lot to learn, and to explain the whole thing in 10 minutes is difficult, but we will make it in a very simple form. So the traditional computer that we use right now, or the phones, or any digital device that we use right now, they used based on what we call binary bits. So they are either 0 or 1. So 1 meaning 5 volts, 0 meaning ground, only two states available, and you can be either 0 or 1. You can't be in both states at the same time. On the flip side, the quantum computers, they use what we call qubits, the quantum bits, and they are not like digital bits like 1 and 0, but they are like physics properties like electrons, photons, atoms, and so they use those, and the main advantage of those bits or the qubits is it can be in the both states at the same time. So if you take electrons as your qubits, it could spin up and spin down, and both happens at the same time. So what quantum physics describe this phenomena as a superposition. Superposition. And then not only that, when they go up and they go down, these two electrons are still in sync. And that phenomena is called entanglement. And longer the entanglement time, which is called coherence time, longer they are in sync, going up and going down phenomena is in sync, better output the quantum computer provides you. So this is a very technical subject. Now people always confuse between quantum computer and supercomputer. So they are not the same thing. The supercomputer is basically our traditional computer, but with advanced technology like very high speed CPU, very fast RAM, very advanced bus speed. So the process that we do here in the laptop works same way same as the supercomputer, but it takes like very small amount of time because it's very advanced, very high speed. There's so many CPUs, lots of RAM and all that. So to put this in the layman's term, right, like for someone, my grandma to understand, right, how would you do that? So let's say, for example, you have a class of 11 students and you are a teacher. So Scott decides that I'll give 10 questions to each student, each 11 students, and ask them to solve. Now 10 students take 3 minutes to solve each problem. So basically to solve 10 problems, each of these 10 students who are average like me takes 30 minutes basically, 10 times 3. Very easy math. The 11th student who is a gifted student or a supercomputer, okay, he has same brain as other 10 but advanced, right, very gifted brain, and he's very smart. So but he does each problem in 1 minute. So it's like he solves the problems in 10 minutes, which other student takes 30 minutes. But now Scott decides as a teacher that I want to make these 10 students quantum students, not the traditional computers. So what he does, because he knows that all these 10 students or 10 qubits can work at the same time on both states. So let's optimize this. So what Scott does, Scott gives one problem to each student and say, hey, you solve at the same time. Now, so each student will take only 3 minutes to solve one problem. So the 10 problems will be solved by 10 students in 3 minutes instead of 30 minutes. So now we beat hands down the supercomputer or the gifted student by 7 minutes because he still takes 10 minutes. While these 10 students does one problem, they make sure that they don't repeat the problem, they're in coherence, they're in sync, and they optimize, and in 3 minutes you have 10 problems solved. That's what the quantum computer does.
So the benefits, if I'm understanding this right for our audience, is speed, number one. More, you can do more things faster because you have the opportunity to distribute the work
Right.
simultaneously as opposed to individually.
Right.
Do I have that correct?
Right.
So
That's correct.
what are some of the other benefits of quantum computing against the, like you mentioned, the laptop you may have today?
Right. So quantum physics, not quantum computer, but the quantum physics is already used, right, in our laser like MRI or our GPS. The technology is already used for many years now. Quantum computers will be able to solve many physics problems, many advanced problems very fast. Now, traditionally, when we have a new technology, right, since 1950s, let's say like TVs and VCRs and CDs and, computers and everything came on board, it helped us to society as a general, on a big scale, right? Because it always helped people, right? Okay, now we have TV, we can watch news, or we have iPod and we can listen to song. Technology has always done some advancement in our everyday life. I mean, except if you make the atom bomb or war weapons and all those, right? These are different things. But in general, right, in life, technology has added value in a good way. Unfortunately, quantum computers can go against us too, especially if you are in security, cyber security. Because quantum computers can break what we call like encryption mechanism we use today. So in other words, like to simplify my statement, right? Let's say I log into my bankabc.com, right? So I log into my bank ABC and I send $10 to Scott. No one can read that right now because it's encrypted, meaning it's like jumble or like, words are not in the same form. And you need a key or basically a computer algorithm to lock and unlock, like both hands needs the key, like a bank lockers. So you also have the key, I also have the key. So when I send something to bankabc.com that transfer from account 123 to account 456, $10, the whole message gets encrypted, meaning no one else can read unless they have the right algorithm or the key, which only bank has it on the other side. So bank decrypt it, opens it and see, oh, okay, this is from Sandip, $10 going to Scott. Okay, let's do it. No one else in between can do it because what we rely today is inefficiency of the technology. What we use is not high end. What we used to do this encryption is probably 10th grade math. So meaning we take two numbers, P and Q, and we do P times Q is equal to N. Okay, it's very simple math. I can do it. So 10 times 2 is equal to 20. Okay, and so P is 10. I decide P is 10, Q is 2. Okay, now when you have to do it, right, when Scott gets hands on it, he knows P and Q value, so he can figure out N. But if an hacker or attacker tracks this number, he doesn't know what P and Q are. He just gets to see 20. Now he has various options, right? Like P is 10, P is 2, P is 5, P is 4, right? There are several options. So he has to go through this table to figure out what could be P and Q to get the right number N to unlock the data. Now it sounds very simple when I say P and Q is 20, but P and Q is equal to N is equal to 20. But if you have this N is 256 digit numbers, it's very hard to crack because even the conventional laptop that you have right now takes months to figure out 256. So now you have to go through each and every digit and do that math for each and every digit to figure out. And we haven't done that yet. The biggest number I think, as far as I recall, is 128 digit number that we have cracked. We haven't cracked 256 digit number yet with our traditional laptop or the basically supercomputer even. So it is very difficult to do that. But the problem is very simple. But now the issue is if we have like enough qubits and if we fire qubits on all cylinders or we get this all hands on deck idea, we could crack this 256 number in no time. And attackers could have their hands on your bank account information.
So that we understand, when you say 120 bit and 256, we're talking about bits of encryption, right? That's what we're talking about, the level of encryption.
The
so
length,
obviously
yeah.
256 is a greater level of encryption, and encryption jumbles everything up, and both parties on each end has a key to turn, so to say, to unlock the code, right? Kind of a code break there, so that the information is understood on both ends.
Right.
With quantum computing, what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is quantum computing will give people the opportunity, not a guarantee, but an opportunity to be able to do that encryption cracking at some point in time, which is why when we hear about longer passwords, right, and passphrases per se, oops, I've gone out of focus here. We need to have a greater piece, so to say, right? A longer password to make it harder because that is an additional encryption.
Right. And like quantum computer can break easily which our traditional computers can't right now. But to do this, we need so many qubits, right? It's not just easy, right? The quantum computers that we have available now through IBM, Amazon, Google, everybody is in the race right now, right, to develop one. Amazon. So um, right now we can't do it because we don't have enough qubits, right? Because qubits are very noise sensitive, and it's hard to maintain that coherence between the two electrons or two atoms, right? So it is the technology is taking it times to be available to people, right? And it will not available for at least next 5 years or so.
And I apologize to everyone watching. My screen has somewhat frozen, but we're going to continue going here. So what will be the impact on your
Right.
average user in regard to their cybersecurity with the quantum computing, right? What will be the impact on someone
Right.
who's just using a device at home who wants to log into their bank per se?
Right. Okay. Very good point. Right. And that's where people ask me always that, okay, if the quantum computers is not available yet, if they are 5 years or 10 years out, why do we worry today? And that's what this education comes into play, because what happens when I log into my bank ABC and I try to send $10 to Scott, and if somebody try to trap that, what they get is maybe my bank account number and maybe my name, my home address, whatnot, right? And it's not going to impact me much because by the time the quantum computers are available in 5 years, I might change my bank account number or my home address. Doesn't really matter, right? But let's say, for example, I'm applying for a loan, for my home loan, like mortgage, and I fill out an application which has my SSN, basically my social security number, my mother's maiden name, my date of birth, and obviously my name and everything, right? I submit this application to Bank ABC. Now, hacker, right? Somebody trap this and store is in the basement. Every time somebody submit the loan application to Bank ABC, they interrupt the line, copy the data, put it in their basement. Okay, because right now they don't have an ability to unscramble this, right? So they can't read it. But this data, what we call is long shelf life data, meaning my SSN, my date of birth, my name, my mother's name, these things are not going to change in 10 years. They will still stay the same. So when a hacker who has all this data in the basement and gets this quantum computer available to him in 5 years or 10 years, he said, okay, let's get to business. And they can unscramble all the data in the basement he has, and he can pick randomly 10 people and get their SSN name and whatever date of birth and apply for the loan, and hopefully or unhopefully he will get approved for one loan, and he can get $1 million on my name and go to Cancun and enjoy the beach.
So what are businesses going to be doing that you're aware of to counteract the potential consequences of a bad actor using quantum computing in relation to cybersecurity?
Right. So we can't really stop people, right, to doing that. Once they have computers available to them, they can use it, right? I mean, we can't really. It's like a laptop right now, right? We can't take that. Okay, you don't do the ransomware. Right? There is no way to do that, but we can protect our data so that even if they attack us, they can't unscramble or decrypt the data, right? So right now, what people started doing already is what they call like hybrid scheme, meaning that you do encryption the traditional way, this P times Q is equal to N, simple math, and then they do what we call PQC, post-quantum cryptography. Now, post-quantum cryptography is still the math-based algorithm, but mathematics is difficult, so that even qubits can't unscramble the data right away. So the goal is to use both encryption methods. One underlying is P times Q is equal to N, and then this PQC wrapping around, and use this both technology so that even in 10 years or 5 years, whenever hackers get their hands onto this data, they have another layer of wrapping around the encryption called PQC, so they can't decrypt everything.
So the good news is, even though quantum computing is on the horizon, from a technology standpoint, businesses are creating a greater schematic, so to say, of how to do cryptography, kind of dual layering it to help protect the average user.
Right, that's correct. And NIST actually already has guidelines that people should start to migrate or use this combined technology as soon as they can. And actually, they should. Oh, you are back. They should phase out by 2035. So start phasing out slowly by 2030 or 2031. I don't recall the exact year, but in 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And by 2035, people should 100% use PQC, the post-quantum
Excellent.
cryptography. So NIST has some guidelines around it. And actually, in last August, in 2024 August, NIST, which is like National Institute of Standards and Technology, an arm or a department within Department of Defense and Commerce, and so our federal bureau basically, they have published a standard PQC technology or the mathematics that we could use. There are 4 standard algorithms, they call it, or the maths based key which people can use.
So the great news, everyone, is quantum computing is on the horizon. It is going to make your life better because it's going to be able to process things faster. Everything technology used in your daily life, right? Just imagine what it'll do in medicine, in banking, in all these different industries to make your life better. But on top of that, the industry is moving to improve the cryptography necessary to keep you safe and protected from any bad actors who use quantum computing. So not to worry about it, but know that this is something that's being addressed so that you're safer. Correct?
Correct. Yes, very well said.
Absolutely. So this has been very enlightening. I worked in cryptography for a little while. Trust me, I don't fully understand it myself, and I think you've done a fabulous job of expressing it so that people who are watching can understand. It's very high-level technology and a lot of math, but the great thing is it protects us in everyday life, and it's something that people should understand and embrace when they're doing things such as multi-factor authentication or facial recognition or even a fingerprint, that cryptography being used in there is used to make it safer for them. So, Sandip, I appreciate you making time for us today. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, no, I appreciate the time, and I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy that you picked the right topic. I think people should know because many people think, oh, this is 10 years out. Why worry now? But like I said, what we have is the data, which is basically what they call harvest now, decrypt later. They collect the data now in their basement, and they're going to decrypt in 10 years. So people should start to be aware about it right now. And I think, I hope I explained it. And obviously, it's not this simple math, but I tried my best. And obviously, people can reach out to me. I don't know if you are going to share my link or something,
Absolutely.
but they could obviously
Yeah,
reach out to me.
absolutely. There will be information that you can reach out to Sandeep. You can leave comments below. There will be links in the description to his LinkedIn, ways to contact him, because it's important, everyone, to kind of like understand, right, these hard, very complex technologies, but really embrace them in your daily life, which is what we're here at Tech4UsAll is all about. Just making it easier to understand so that maybe tomorrow you're a little more open to trying to embrace your technology. It will make you safer. It will improve your life. and it reduces the stress of using technology. So everybody, thanks for joining us. Please share this with anyone in your personal network, family member, friend who has some adversity to technology. They'll learn something. Come back for new episodes every single week. Please subscribe and share this as well and help support the channel. So Sandip, again, thank you so much for joining me today. Everyone, will be back with another topic next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you.